Hey everyone, welcome to week 6 of the college football season. My name is Mike Routing. I'm the host of the college football road trip at cfbroadtrip.com. And yesterday I went out and posted about the second half of my trip to New York, Niagara Falls and Buffalo, an absolutely beautiful area. Go read about everything I did in the Niagara Falls area and take a look at the pictures I was able to take there, all the amazing places I went to eat in the Buffalo area, as well as about my trip to this Coastal Carolina Buffalo game, which turned out to be an amazing game. So we're here in week 6, not quite as many great games as we've had the last couple of weeks, but there are a couple good ones at the bottom of tonight's lineup. So let's go ahead and get started with this week's picks. We're going to start off with a Friday night game in the Pac-12. We have Stanford traveling to number 22, Arizona State. Stanford coming off the great win over Oregon last week in overtime. Arizona State looked really good against UCLA. Both of these teams are still pretty competitive. I think Arizona State, as the home team in this one, is going to come out with a little bit more. I think they're going to find a way to pull out in the end. Stanford is good, but I think they're still lacking a little bit of something. Oregon did come back and almost pull off the win before Stanford put it away in overtime. So I have Arizona State winning at home over Stanford on Friday night. Let's go to what could be an interesting game in a fun way, and that's taking our two zero-win teams against each other. We have UConn traveling to UMass. UConn is 0-6 on the season. UMass is 0-5 on the season. It's going to be interesting to see how many turnovers happen in this game, how much sloppy play comes in. This could be a fun game to watch. UConn's actually come really close to winning a couple times this season. First against Wyoming and then last week against Vanderbilt. Because of that, I think UConn is going to find a way to win this game. UMass, I don't think, has really been competitive all this season. Because of that, I give UConn the edge. I have UConn winning on the road at UMass. Our next matchup, we're going to go to the Mountain West. We have Wyoming traveling to Air Force. Wyoming is a team that's undefeated on the season, but they really haven't played anybody. I've already talked about how they probably should have lost to UConn a couple weeks ago. Air Force does have one loss on the season, but I don't think that's going to deter them in this game, especially playing at home. I think Wyoming finally is going to have a matchup that comes back to bite them. Because of that, I have Air Force in this game. Air Force will win at home over Wyoming in Mountain West play. Next, let's go to an SEC matchup. We have LSU traveling to Kentucky. There's a lot of heat on LSU, especially after their loss last week. On the flip side, Kentucky was able to pull out a big win at home over Florida that just totally bounced them up in the ratings. In the rankings this week, all the way up to number 16. I think Kentucky's going to be able to keep that momentum alive. Yes, LSU needs to have a big win. They have a lot of pressure on them. I think that the fact they have to go on the road to this game is going to not be enough for them to be able to pull off the big win. I have number 16 Kentucky winning at home over LSU in SEC play. Next, let's go to Virginia Tech. They are playing at home against 14th ranked Notre Dame this week. Obviously, Notre Dame is coming off their loss to Cincinnati last week, and a game that Cincinnati played really well in. Notre Dame tried to make it come back at the end. It wasn't enough. Virginia Tech, on the flip side, does have a loss to West Virginia a couple weeks ago. I think Notre Dame is going to be able to bounce back big in this game. It'll be close in the first half, but Notre Dame will pull away in the second half. I have Notre Dame winning on the road at Virginia Tech this week. Next, let's go to a Big Ten matchup. We have Maryland traveling to Ohio State. Maryland played an undefeated Iowa team last week and absolutely got demolished. And this week they have to go on the road to Ohio State. Ohio State is a team that it looks like they're slowly starting to put things together. They had a very strong win against Rutgers last week. Now, Rutgers isn't a great team, but they still were dominant in that win. I think the same thing is going to happen this week. They're going to have a dominant win at home over Maryland to show that they deserve to be in the top 10. I have Ohio State winning at home over Maryland in Big Ten play. Next, let's go to another SEC matchup. We have number 2 Georgia traveling to number 18 Auburn. Georgia, again, just played amazing last week. Arkansas, who was undefeated going in and a top 10 team, went into Athens and absolutely got demolished. Didn't just get demolished, but got totally shut out as well. Georgia was just amazing in that game. Yes, they have to go on the road this week, but they have to go to the Auburn team that has not looked amazing. Yes, they're ranked in the top 25, but they're definitely not a top 10 team. Because of that, Georgia is just going to absolutely pull away from them. This isn't going to be a close game. Georgia's going to dominate them, especially come the second half. I have number 2 Georgia winning big on the road at number 18 Auburn in SEC play. Let's go to another SEC matchup. We have number 13 Arkansas traveling to number 17 Ole Miss. This is a matchup between two teams that got demolished last week to Alabama and Georgia. The question is, does that mean anything? Alabama and Georgia are so far ahead of all other teams that losing to them really doesn't mean that much in the big scheme of things other than not being in the same level as them. The question is, which one of these two teams will win and bounce back, and which one of these teams will have their second loss in a row? Ole Miss was a little bit more competitive against Alabama, at least in the second half after going down 28-0. Arkansas really just didn't show anything against Georgia last week. Because of that, and because Ole Miss is the home team in this one, I'm going to give the edge to Ole Miss in this matchup. I have number 17 Ole Miss winning at home over number 13 Arkansas in SEC play. Next, we're going to go down to Dallas in the Red River Rivalry between number 6 Oklahoma and number 21 Texas. Oklahoma is still undefeated on the season, although they have not been able to put a single team away. They did start to put Kansas State away. It was pretty dominant there in the second half until Kansas State made a last-second comeback at the end of the fourth quarter to make that matchup a little more competitive than it actually was. On the flip side, you have Texas, who has done a lot better, especially offensively, since they had the quarterback switch a few weeks ago. Oklahoma, I'm just not sold on in a matchup like this. First, the offense really struggled, but their defense played well. Last week against Kansas State, their offense played a lot better, but their defense actually struggled last week. Unless they're able to put both sides of the ball together in a single matchup, they're going to struggle, and they're going to lose a matchup like this to Texas. Texas still is struggling on the defensive side of the ball, but again, their offense has just been looking amazing. The switch in quarterback, the running game has just been unstoppable. I have Texas winning this one in an upset. I think they're going to be able to put it together. Oklahoma has always been losing a single matchup during the regular season, during the early October timeframe. I think it's going to happen again this year. I have number 21 Texas winning over number 6 Oklahoma in the Red River Rivalry. And finally, our marquee matchup this week. It's in the Big Ten. We have number 4 Penn State traveling to number 3 Iowa. Both of these teams are undefeated. Both of these teams have big wins on the season. Both of these teams are in the college football playoff discussion right now. But at the end of the day, only one of these teams will continue to be in that discussion, at least for the near time future. Since both of these teams have looked well, have looked really good in their matchups, this is the type of matchup I always go with the home team on, because the home team has the crowd advantage behind it. That's going to come into play in a game like this. It's going to be a very close matchup. It's going to be a toss-up. But again, because Iowa is at home, I'm going to give them the edge. They're going to find a way at the very end of the game to score a field goal or touchdown to put it away. I have number 3 Iowa winning at home over number 4 Penn State. That's going to be an amazing matchup. You'll want to check it out. Quite a few good matchups. Be sure to check out the UConn UMass game and how ugly that game might be. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. In the meantime, go enjoy the games this week. And again, go and check out my website, cfbroadtrip.com, for everything about my games at Syracuse and at Buffalo over the past few weeks. And we will talk to you again next week.